Hello. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about posting. Especially when you first start your business, it can be just kind of like daunting, especially because we have so many different products. And we want you to just start right away. So just trying to figure out what to post and where to post it and how to post it and how often to post it. So everybody kind of runs their business a little bit differently, and I'm just going to kind of go over what I do, what works for me. I've been in the business for a little bit now, so I've kind of done some trial and error things, and I've done a lot of trainings. So I've taken some stuff from some really strong leaders, and this is kind of what I've come up with. So the very first thing I'm going to say is whenever I'm posting about the business, I never actually, hey Jenny, we just started. I never actually say the name of the company or the name of the products. And I do this for a couple of reasons. Number one, people may have a bad connotation with the company, whether it was that they tried products a couple years ago and maybe they didn't follow them correctly or they didn't work for them for some reason, or they've had like a bad run-in with a distributor. Maybe they were really spammy, or they just didn't treat them correctly. And so number one reason I don't say the actual name of the company, because some people already have like a bad taste in their mouth without even actually knowing where we are now. I also don't say the name of products or company because I want to create curiosity. When we talk about things that I post on my personal page, I do it in a way that makes people curious about what I'm doing, and makes them want to ask questions. I can't tell you how many times I've had people just private message me, and say something like, okay, I've been watching you for a couple of months now and I see that you're actually making money. Tell me more about what you do. Or I've been watching you for the past couple of weeks. You post about this fat burning coffee you drink every day. Please tell me more about it. So the curiosity really drives home, for me, bringing in customers and people into the business, because I want to know what you're doing and they want to be a part of it. With that being said, I probably make one intentional business post on my actual timeline, on talking about Facebook right now, a week, whether that's doing like a hap for myself. And if you don't know what a hap is, talk to your upline. I mean, you guys are my upline, so you guys already know, or I can talk to you about it. But so I'll say something like, who loves coffee and wants to lose 10 plus pounds, instead of posting a picture of keto coffee and saying who wants to buy this keto coffee, because I'm constantly growing my network, just like I'm going to encourage you guys to do. And when new people come to your page, I don't want them to just see like this sales page. I don't want them to be like, she's another one of those people. I want them to know that I'm a normal person. I got lots of things going on in my life that they can relate to. And that's the type of relationship building that I want to have with people. I want them to know that I'm there for them like they are, not there to sell to them. So let's just talk real quick about mindset of posting. I try to encourage everybody to have the mindset of posting from a place of wanting to help people instead of wanting to sell to people. And just think about it yourself. Would you be more interested in buying something from somebody that's going to help you with a problem that you have, or somebody that is just trying to promote a product? Now, if they're a really good friend, you may just buy it just to help them because they're a good friend. But if you don't know the person, you're more likely to say no to them unless they have a thing that they can help you with. And I find that relationship building, we call this attraction marketing, works so much better this way of building relationships with these potential customers. So even if they don't purchase the first conversation you have with them, the more that you can offer people, the more that they want to be involved with you. And eventually they're going to come around and purchase or join your team. So instead of posting products and business stuff on my page, I post interactive stuff. And what I mean by this, there's one type of interaction that's like post a picture of Wendy's and Chick-fil-A and you can do a poll that says, you know, which one would you prefer, which one's better. I prefer to do things that makes people want to like actually give input, because it's just human nature to want to talk to people and tell you their opinions. Everybody has an opinion and they want everybody to know about it. So when it comes to intentional interactive post, number one, you need to be aware of who your network is. So for me, I have two big types or different types of people on my Facebook page. I have pageant girls because I competed in pageants for 12 years, and I have moms because I'm a new mom and a lot of people my age are popping out babies. So I know if I post something about pageants and something about babies or being a mom, that I'm going to capture an audience. So for instance, I did a post um, about my daughter when she was just starting to eat baby food. And I knew 100% I was not going to make my own baby food. I was not about that life, but I know that a lot of moms have an opinion about making their own baby food. So I found a really pretty picture on Google of baby food, like homemade baby food, and I posted it and said, Kenley is just venturing into the world of real food. Who makes their own baby food? Is it worth it? What are your ideas, thoughts, or issues with it? And I had over 100 comments on that thing because every mom is like, oh, I did it. This is what I used. You should do this. I did this. I did baby led weaning instead. Everybody had their own opinion. And the reason that doing interactive posts like that are important is because Facebook has an algorithm. You may have heard about it before, but the Facebook algorithm basically gives every profile a score. And the higher your score, the more that people are going to see your things. And the way that you get a higher score is by having lots of interactive things, because Facebook basically sees a post. So they saw um, my baby food post. And they're like, oh, people want to talk about it. They want to hear her content and they want to give their input. That means that she's like an influential person. We're going to show her stuff more because people want to see it. So the more interactive stuff you have on your page, the more that your posts are going to be seen. So for instance, when I do make that one post of like who loves coffee and wants to lose weight, I'll do a really big interactive post first to get my page going. And then I'll throw that up there because Facebook is like, okay, she's on a roll. Anything she's going to be posting now, people want to see. So you're more likely to get views on that. Outside of that, like one product post I do on my timeline, the other thing that I do on my timeline, and you may have heard us talk about this before, is posting your why. Like I said before, the best way to be successful in this business is cultivating relationships and being relatable to your audience, to your network. And people buy into a story. And so for me, my story is that I have a now 8-month-old daughter, and my husband is in the military, and we don't exactly know where his career is going to go, but we know that we have a lot of debt that we're trying to pay off. And so I talk about my goals. Number one, my goal is to pay off my own debt that I brought into our relationship. And number two, my goal is to help pay off our debt so that by the time we get out of the military, we can start somewhere fresh. And so that's my story. And there's a lot of people on my timeline that can relate to that. And so I try to use my personal life to talk about products in like a subliminal way instead of just posting business stuff. So for instance, I'll post a picture of the other day I posted a picture of me sitting in the car. I just did a quick selfie and said, so thankful to have a business that I can work just from my phone on because my daughter is still sleeping, and it's nice to just take a couple minutes to myself and make some extra money while I'm sitting here. Or I'll post a picture or even like a short little boomerang or video of me making my fat burning coffee in the morning and say, last night was a rough night. New moms all know this. Thank goodness for my fat burning coffee that keeps me full until lunch, because Lord knows I don't have time for breakfast. So throwing in things like that, that's going to keep that curiosity up, and people are going to be following your journey. So the more that you are consistent with things, they're going to say, well, she definitely believes this in this and she's consistent with it. So I'm going to trust more in her than some girl that's just posting a picture like, I have keto coffee, who wants some? So that is a gist about your timeline. So just kind of quick overview, interactive posts, try to limit using the words "it works" or saying product names. So instead of saying keto coffee, say fat burning coffee or unicorn coffee or whatever you want. And do subliminal posting. I try to do at least one of those a day on my actual page so that I'm constantly in people's minds that I'm making money anywhere I want and that the products that I'm using. And if you're super new and you don't have the products yet, that's okay. When as soon as you get those products, just know that using them and being a product of the product is super important. So that's that. The next thing I want to talk about is stories, because that is where I get, outside of HAPS, my most potentials. If you have an Instagram, I highly suggest that you use it, even if you're not super great at it, even if you just use it for the stories. So I always post on my Instagram story, and you can share it directly to your Facebook story from Instagram. So you kill two birds with one stone, and you get extra views and followers on your stories. So the number one tip I have for stories is frequency and consistency. You are better off to post one picture 5 different times throughout the day. Obviously, it's 5 different content, not the same picture 5 different times. Than you are to post 5 different pictures right off the bat in the morning, because every time that you post something new to your story, it's going to bump it to the front of people's timelines. So if you post something in the morning and then by noon, you're like, well, I only have 50 views or however many views you have on it. Well, go ahead and post another picture, and that's going to bring it to the front of the line so that more people can see it. The more frequently that you post to it, the more chance that people have to see it. Now, I know some people say, well, I work 8 to 5 and I can't have my phone during that time. That's okay, because a lot of people are in that position. So you are better off, if you're in that position, to post several times, like maybe once or twice before you go to work in the morning, maybe once when you wake up and once like in the parking lot when you get there, and then maybe one time before you leave work and one time at dinner and one time before bed. So there's 5 times right there, and you're not posting throughout the day. So don't feel like you have to do it throughout the entire day. Just find where it fits in your schedule best. But the more times that you pop up on there, the more views that you're going to get. Okay. Consistency is super important as well. I found that in the past that I, like my first 2 months working, I wasn't super consistent with my business. I was like, well, she said I could just do like a half an hour here and there. So that's what I did. And I kind of, the days that I was more consistent, I found that the follow through of those days were more successful with signing people. So especially if you're new right now, like Jenny, for you, for instance, you just signed up 48 hours ago, and you already have 4 customers. You're rolling in that momentum. So just keep pushing on that momentum, because if you're like, okay, well, I got 4 customers, I got my $100 shopping spree, and then you're like, I'm going to be good, and maybe next week I'll try again. Well, now you've already started this curiosity from people. You need to keep going, because that's going to keep people on your profile and watching your journey, and they're more likely to quickly come back to you and be like, okay, since day one you've been 100%. Like if you're 100%, I can be 100% too. So consistency is super, super important with stories. Now let's talk about the content. Like I said, I only post business and product stuff in my story, but that's not the only thing I post. And this is, there's 2 different sides that you can take here. There are some ItWorks people that all they post on their story is product stuff, and that works for them, and that's great. For me, I know that a lot of people, I myself, if I know that somebody is only posting product stuff on their story, I'm going to skip their story because I know that that's all I'm going to see. And if I don't want their products, then that I have no reason to view it. So I find, again, knowing your network, what are people going to be most attracted to that they want to come back and see? Whether it's content that can help them that they're getting for free, or it's things like babies. Everybody loves to see my daughter. Everybody loves to see my pets. Well, maybe they don't love to see them as much as me, but I post about them a lot. And, hopefully people like that. People love looking at food. Maybe take a picture of your coffee in the morning and then your dinner at night or whatever have you. But I find that mixing my content works better for me because I know that a lot of people won't come back to my story if I just post product stuff. The other important thing here that I find is mixing the content is important. So I'll start off the morning with some type of business post, and it's typically about my coffee because I drink the keto coffee and I mix my greens in it. So I typically post a picture of it because just doing like actual business posts of really pretty done up things, they it's less believable that you actually use it. So obviously, until you get the products, you're going to want to use those things. But once you have them, using actual photos of you doing it. I post about my coffee almost every single morning, unless I've had a really rough morning. We're teething right now, so I don't think there's coffee on my story right now. I don't think I drank it today. Actually, I just got carried away with everything. So I'll typically do that sort of product post in the morning of me physically using it. Then I'll go throughout the day with my daughter and post a bunch of different stuff. Sometimes I'll go onto my Facebook, and if you click the three, if you're on the mobile app, you click the three lines in the bottom right hand corner, you can click on memories, and Facebook will bring up your memories for however long you've had your Facebook page. And so a lot of times I'll take pictures from there and repost them and say, here's a Facebook memory, and just post that just to change up the content sometimes. Or maybe you find content that you can share that people would be interested in. So some free content that you can get is if you have that Live Fit app, they always post a new workout and a new healthy recipe. So maybe you screenshot that and post that around lunchtime every day. And so people are like, well, I know she's going to post a healthy recipe. I want to see what she got today. Or she's going to post something for fitness. And people are going to want to come back. People want free stuff. So try to know what your network is looking for and give them that and give them some free tips and stuff. So sometimes I'll go on to, I'm big into fitness stuff, and I know a lot of my followers are. So I'll go on to Google and just say fitness tip and then screenshot a picture there and post that. So I just try to give back. And that, again, that's cultivating relationships. If people know that they're going to get stuff from free for free from you, they're more likely to stick with you. And when they're ready to buy, purchase from you, even if they have other ItWorks people on their page. So let's talk about where to get product and business content. So there's three main ways that I get it. Number one, if you are not in the, I don't know if you can see this, but if you're not in the Game Changer Academy Facebook page, let your upline know. In this page, if you scroll on this bar right here all the way to the end, there's a button called albums. And a lot of your leaders have gone through and they're literally labeled with different products. And they've posted pictures in here. So you can just take them off there. That's the first way. Most of these pictures are from the second way, which is Pinterest. So if you go onto Pinterest and you type ItWorks and then cleanse, or ItWorks keto coffee, or ItWorks business opportunity, it will come up with anything and everything that you've ever wanted. And so whenever I have free time, I just go onto Pinterest and I find ItWorks distributors that have a lot of pins, and I'll just follow their boards. And then that way I don't have to research every single time. So I'll just go into the boards that I'm following when I have a free second. And just to save some time, when I know that I do, my daughter goes to bed at 7. So I pretty much work from 7 to 10 pretty consistently. for my business. Some people don't have that much time, and that's okay. When you do have a good 5 minutes, go ahead and sit on Pinterest or go into those albums on the Game Changer Academy and save a bunch of stuff. That way it's already in your phone. And then when you have a quick minute, you can just upload it and you don't have to spend all that time right there and then when you're trying to do it. So this should save you some time so that you are able to post several times throughout the day. If it's already saved on your phone, it should only take about maybe 45 seconds to a minute to post it to your story, and then it's done. The third way that you can do content is you can make your own. So some people don't have the time or energy or care to do that. If you do, the apps that I use are Story Art. Story Art has some good layouts, and Pick Tap Go, PICTAPGO. That one is a free one that you can use to put filters to make your pictures look prettier. So if you have free time and want to play around, those are two good apps to use. The last thing that I'll say with the stories, I don't get a lot of people to just randomly message me and be like, okay, I saw this on your story, tell me more information. Even if you say like private message for more information or swipe up and say coffee. I think I've only had people do that a handful of times. The main way that I get people from my story is by doing polls. So just a quick tutorial on how to do a poll. When you're on Instagram, if you have Instagram, first you're gonna swipe over to the left. We're just gonna take a picture of my table there. Up at the top, there's a little like square that has like a page turn at the bottom. You're just gonna tap that. It's gonna bring up this menu and there's literally a button that says poll, okay? So it says ask a question, just so you know, you don't have to ask a question. So if I've taken something off from Pinterest that says, who's ready to burn some fat by drinking coffee? The question's obviously already on that picture. So I'm just gonna create the poll without doing the question. If you do a question, make sure that you are using the pen button that's at the top when you get out of it and using a color and going behind it so that the wording lights up. Because if the wording is back into the picture and you can't read it, it doesn't make sense to have it on there anyways. So we're just going to say, for this poll, it's just going to say yes and no because I just want to show you an example here. When I do my polls, I typically do something like, tell me more information, or how much does it cost, or if it's like a business post, I'll say something like, I'm ready to make money, or I'm still skeptical, or something like that. So I try to use like, just think about if you were a customer, what would entice you to click one of those buttons. So here's a trick that I do. When I do the poll, I make it as big as I can to cover the entire screen. And you can do it there or right in the center of the page. I want you to hold your phone and see where you would tap to go to the next picture, and that's where you want to put that poll so people hit it accidentally every single time. People will message you and be like, I'm so sorry, I clicked your poll again accidentally. And I'm like, it's okay, girl, I put it there so that people do that. Like, you're totally fine. I'm not gonna spam you. Have a great day. Thanks for viewing my story. But I do that so that people hit it accidentally so that I'm in their inbox and I got there accidentally. I didn't have to private message them some spammy thing. So what do you do when somebody comments on your poll? Depending on what it is, I always say, thanks for voting on my poll about whatever it is. So we'll say it's keto coffee. Thanks for voting on my poll about keto coffee. Were you, and then whatever they pressed. So were you interested in the cost, or did you hit it accidentally, LOL? I always ask them if they hit it accidentally, LOL, because number one, if I don't, a lot of people will just ghost me from it. And number two, it gives them an out and it's more casual and less scripty because they're like, okay, well, she gets it. So I'm just going to be like, oh, I hit it accidentally. I'm so sorry. If they say, I hit it accidentally, I'm so sorry, I say, no problem. Thanks for viewing my story. And then I go to their profile and I find something, whether it's a picture of a dog or some people have like really beautiful like filters that they use, and I'll go back to the message and be like, by the way, like compliment, input compliment here. That way, when they hit the next poll accidentally, and I say, "Hey, girl, I was just checking. Did you hit this one accidentally too, or were you actually interested in more information?" I've had a personal conversation with her, and they're more likely to be like, "I did hit it accidentally, but you can give me more information if you want," because I know that I'm not just after them for their money. Sometimes they'll say, "I did hit it accidentally, but what is it even about?" And there's my end. They hit it accidentally, but they're still interested in more information. And then sometimes people are like, "Yeah, I want information. That's why I voted on it." I'm like, "Okay, I was just making sure. Let me tell you what it's about." So you kind of go from there. I just try to be as personable as possible because, again, I find that cultivating relationships, number one, brings people back. Number two, it keeps them as customers longer. I've grown up with entrepreneurs as parents, and customer service is super important to me because that's how I would want to be treated too. So I want you guys to, if possible, keep that mindset of being personable with people when you're chatting. When you're getting scripts from your uplines, when you're chatting with people, feel free to change them around a little bit. Kelsey is my upline. And when she's very bubbly and just super sweet and outgoing and just crazy and out there, which is awesome. And I am outgoing, but I'm not extra like that all the time. I can be sometimes, but I'm not. So she'd send me these scripts and there'd be like 17 different emojis in there. And I'm like, what's happening? If I were to send that out, people would be like, are you like, did somebody hack your profile? Because this is not how you message people. So if you're getting scripts from people, make sure you make them your own so that people really get that it's you. And if there's more information in there than you know that that person really cares about, feel free to take stuff out. Like for me, I find that the less information, the better, because people don't want to feel like they're being scripted. They want you to talk to them. So that's pretty much the gist of posting. Do you guys have any questions off from what was said there? Is there anything else that you want me to touch on? No? Okay. The last kind of like tidbit that I will give you while we're here anyways, and obviously, Jenny, you're not having a problem sealing the deal, but eventually it'll probably come. I find that if I have a potential customer and they ghosted me or they said that they would get it and then they just didn't, and then I followed up with them, a lot of times I follow up with voice messages. I find that keeps it really personable. And then they can tell that you're caring by the way that like the demeanor of your voice. And it's not just a script that's like, "Hey girl, just checking in. Were you still interested in ordering?" You can say, "Hey, I'm putting in some orders right now and I know you were super interested in it. So I was just checking in to see if you wanted me to throw yours in so that you get on that next shipment, because this stuff is selling so quickly and the results are so crazy right now. And I just know that you would love it." Saying that in written words versus a voice message is so totally different. And I've converted a lot of people who have ghosted me just because they're like, okay, she really is trying to reach out to me and talk to me like a real person. So utilize those voice messages. I think we're good. Oh, thank you. I know sometimes I get ahead of myself, I guess, because I've been doing it a while. So sometimes I get afraid that I've like not been simplified enough for people to understand what I'm saying. Let's see. I just want to make sure on my thing that I didn't miss anything. I think that was pretty much it. Oh, the last thing, I just said last thing, but another thing that I will tell you is going back to your profile and talking about interactive stuff. Going live on your profile is super important, and it doesn't have to be about the business, but live videos generate 5 times the amount of interactions that a written post ever would. So I just did a live, I think it was yesterday actually, about um, putting on fake eyelashes. I've people do lives of cooking dinner, or they're at their kid's soccer game and they just want to chit chat with people, or do a live about anything. I encourage everybody to do at least one live a week, because it will help boost those interactions on your Facebook page. And also, if you don't know about it, you can do polls on your Facebook page too. And you can make those polls last like 6 days, a week, however long you want. And those are really good for interactions as well, because again, people want to give their opinion. So I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any questions outside of this or later on, just let me know. And other than that,